Bring the magic of Denise's Delicacies into your kitchen with a heartfelt cookbook inspired by the bakery's most beloved desserts. From the famous butter pound cake to the bold, rich red velvet, I share the step-by-step recipes that celebrate the legacy of Denise's Delicacies, making sure every home baker can bring these flavors to life. You'll fall in love with the lemon pound cake, glazed to perfection, and the strawberry shortcake, layered with whipped cream and tender sponge. Each recipe is crafted with flavor, tradition, and the care that has made these treats unforgettable for over 30 years. More than just a cookbook, this is a legacy filled with personal stories, cherished memories, and the joy of baking from the heart. Whether you're baking for loved ones or simply for yourself, Denise's Delicacies is your new go-to guide. Order now and taste the tradition.
Okay, so we're back with Denise's Delicacies and Chef Kesha, and today we are going to look at healthier options for dessert. Dessert doesn't have to be all bad. So today we're going to make a gluten-free, dairy-free strawberry cake. And so we're going to make it pretty exciting. When I go through the ingredients, I will talk about some of the alternatives that we can use. But if you have a sweet tooth and you have some allergies, maybe to gluten, or if you're vegan, we have some options for you. So we'll in this recipe, we will be making 3 parts. There will be a strawberry reduction that will go in the cake itself, and then a strawberry buttercream. So we'll get started with the reduction. So we have 4.5 cups of fresh strawberries that we've already pureed, and we have a tablespoon of lemon juice. We have a tablespoon of sugar, granulated sugar, and a pinch of salt, a pinch of salt. So on our stove here, we're going to combine all the ingredients. And with the strawberries, you can use fresh or frozen. I always like fresh. Fresh is best. So I have our fresh strawberries here. The lemon juice helps with the color. With the strawberries, while they're cooking, they tend to turn brown. So we're adding the lemon juice to make sure that the color still stays bright and vibrant for you. Okay, so we're going to boil the reduction and wait for it to come to a boil, and then we'll simmer it. We'll have to take a break. Okay, so we have our reduction starting to boil. Once it starts to boil, then we will bring it down to a simmer. So I'll turn it all the way down. Okay, and then we'll wait. So it will take about 20 minutes to really get the reduction to the consistency that we're looking for. It will be very thick. So we'll bring this back. We'll be right back, and we'll move on to the cake. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we've had our strawberry puree simmering for about 25 to 30 minutes. I want to say it was about 30 minutes actually, whisking along the way, and we've got a nice, fine, smooth texture for our puree. We would set it aside, so I'm just going to turn this off. We set it aside, let it cool for about 10 minutes. And we're going to now be ready to add it to our cake mixture. So let's go over our cake ingredients. We've got 2/3 cup of dairy-free salted butter. And what I'll say is everything here is room temperature. So the butter, dairy-free salted butter, 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 2 large eggs, room temperature. Now you can use a substitute of vegan eggs, so you can do that. And then we have a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now for our gluten-free option, So we have 1 to 3 cups of gluten-free flour. So gluten-free can be, you have a few options. You have almond flour, oat flour, rice flour, and just check the packaging. Check the packaging to see if it has Yankson gum, which would be a stabilizer. So if it does, we don't need to add any. If it doesn't, we will add some. So in addition to that, we'll have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. In our reduction, we have a half of a cup of our strawberry reduction that we have cooled, and then a cup or a quarter cup, excuse me, of dairy-free milk. So again, this can be almond milk or soy milk. So we have that. If you need to add the Yankson gum, that will be about a teaspoon of the gum. Okay, so we'll get started with the mix. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cream our butter with the sugar. Get all that good butter there. And the vegetable oil. So we're going to cream the butter. So we're going to start off on a low mix, just to get everything mixed together. And then we're going to turn it on a medium to get the butter, the sugar, and the vegetable oil mix good and fluffy. So this will take about 2 minutes. Periodically, you do want to make sure you scrape the bowl. So we'll do that. Just to ensure all the ingredients are mixed at the bottom and on the sides. Okay. So we're going to put this on a high speed and mix for 2 more minutes. Okay. So you'll know that your butter is nice and whipped when it comes to a lighter color. It's going to be very light and fluffy in texture. So we're going to scrape the bottom of the bowl and the sides of the bowl. Next, we'll add in our eggs and vanilla. And we'll mix it until the eggs and vanilla are fully mixed. We're not going to overmix. We'll do this on a medium speed. So this will take about a minute. And halfway through, we'll stop the mixer. We will scrape the sides and the bottom just to make sure it's fully mixed. Okay. So we're going to give this about another 30 seconds of mixing. And then we'll add our dry ingredients. That looks perfect. So let's take a look at our batter, see what the consistency is looking like here. Scraping down the sides. And now we will add our flour. baking powder, salt, and if we needed to yank some gum, we would add it here. So we're going to mix on low, and we'll pulse for a little bit so we don't make a big mess. Okay. And so we'll keep the mixer on low until the batter is just combined. Again, we don't want to overmix. That will keep the cake itself nice and fluffy and light when we bake it. Okay, so just a few more things. We're going to add our reduction. And the milk, and here's what I'll do. Pour the milk in here, just so we can get more of our reduction. Now, if you like, you can add pink food coloring just to give the cake a little bit more of a pinkish color, but the strawberry will naturally do it on its own. So now we're going to mix it on low. Oh, this looks great. This looks pretty good. Okay. We'll take one more time to scrape the bottom and the sides. So you get all the flour and the strawberry and the milk mixed in. Give it one more mix on low. This looks great. Perfect. Okay, so now we're ready to go in the oven. So we will use two 8-inch pans that I've already greased and floured. And we're going to evenly distribute the batter in each of the pans. So the batter is going to be a thick consistency, which means that it's going to bake out nice and light. If your batter is too runny, then you run the risk of the cake being very dense and flat. So this is what we're looking for, nice, light, and fluffy. Okay, and you want to make sure that it is evenly distributed throughout the pan. Okay, looks great. And for each pan, we're just going to give it a little jiggle, a little shake, flatten it out. That gets the air pockets out of the batter. So now we've had our oven preheated for on 350, and so I'll get these in the oven. They'll bake about 30 minutes and then we'll be right back. Okay, so our cake is in the oven. It's going to be baking about 25 to 30 minutes. And while that's in the oven, we can get our buttercream started. So the ingredients for the buttercream would be 2 cups of salted butter, and we'll make sure that it's room temperature, 5.5 cups of confectioner's sugar, and we have 1 teaspoon of salt, and then we have a 1/4 cup of our reduction from earlier, and a teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. So let's get started by putting our room temperature butter into the mixer. And we're gonna let this butter get nice and fluffy and cream. This is going to take about maybe 5-7 minutes. We wanna really get it nice and light and fluffy before we add the sifted confectioner sugar. So let's get started there. And so the consistency that we're looking for is light, fluffy. The butter itself will turn almost white. So we'll let that go and we'll be right back. Okay, so we've had our butter mixing on high for about 10 minutes. So with that, we got a really nice, smooth consistency. So I'll just show you guys what that looks like. It's very smooth and fluffy in the bowl. As a matter of fact, I'll bring the bowl down and show you. So that's a very nice, light and fluffy texture there. And so the next step, we'll add our salt and sifted powdered sugar. My recommendation is to add the powdered sugar 1/2 at a time. Otherwise, you'll have a big mess. So, put this bowl back on there. Okay. Again, you're just going to pulse it on. And we're going to mix until it gets mixed in. And then we'll add our second bowl. Okay. And we will scrape down the sides first. Get all the sugar off the side of the bowl and off the paddle. And mix in the rest of our sugar. Okay. Again, we'll do this just until it's mixed, pulsing so the sugar doesn't go everywhere. And we'll keep the mixer on low. Okay, so now your sugar is all mixed with your butter. Last step, we add our cooled reduction. And our vegetable oil. This will smooth out the buttercream, so it'll make it nice and smooth. No, I'm sorry. This is the lemon juice. So the lemon juice is going to give it a tangy, tart taste. And so we'll put the mixer on low after we scrape down the bowl. So we're going to let this mix for about 5 minutes. When that's done, we'll be ready to ice our cake as it's coming out the oven. So let's check on our cake. Be right back. Okay, so we've got our cake out the oven. It's baking, it had baked for about 25 minutes, maybe about 27 minutes. And this is the color that it's gonna look. As I said before, if you want to add a little bit of red dye or pink dye, you can, to make it look a little bit more like strawberry, that's fine. We had our buttercream whipping for about 10 minutes, just to get it nice and smooth. So we have it here. We're ready to ice our cake and finish it off. So I'm just gonna get the icing on the top, nice and fluffy. Since it's been whipping for about 10 minutes, nice and easy to smooth on top so you don't tear your cake up, because I've done that. So really nice, smooth buttercream. And you don't need a lot in the middle. And then we'll add the next layer. Now, when you grease and flour your pans, you can either use cooking spray or vegetable oil and flour. So that's what we did today. It stuck a little bit in a few spots, so just make sure it's evenly distributed to prevent that sticking. But that's okay, because I'm going to ice over that, so nobody will see that. So I'm going to add more icing to the top. And since the icing is so nice and smooth and fluffy, it will be okay for me to spread over the part that's stuck to the pan. Okay, so now we'll get some on the side and we'll finish. Now your cake should be chilled for you to ice. So I'm using a spatula, or what we call a bow knife. Now, if you have a turntable where you can turn your plate or your board around, that would make it easier. It's okay, we'll just turn our plate. And get the sides nice and smooth. Okay, we're almost there. Let me just get these sides smooth here. You could put a little design on top. And let's garnish with strawberries. So I've fanned some strawberries. Just put on top, just to make a little design. And there you have it. Just put the fresh strawberries all around. So who says eating cake can't be healthy? We've got our gluten-free, dairy-free, strawberry cake made with fresh strawberry reduction with a strawberry buttercream. Okay. So now you can enjoy. So here's what we did today. We had our gluten-free, dairy-free strawberry cake. And if you have any gluten allergies, this is something that is a nice treat for you to enjoy. Thank you again for watching, and make sure that you be on the lookout for our cookbook, Denise's Delicacies with Chef Kesha. And then also check out our website, cakesbydenises.com, if you want some cakes shipped to you. See you next time. Take care.